My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. My name is Jordan Lung, and this is my story. In this journey called life, I've experienced many emotional, psychological, and spiritual events that have shaped who I am today. By age 5, I made the most important decision of my life, and that was to commit my life in service and submission to Jesus Christ. This decision has affected me in all areas. It has changed the way I act, the way I react and think. In situations where getting even seems justifiable, the Holy Spirit reminds me of Christ's undeserving death. In moments of grief, God comforts me with His presence, and in moments of happiness, I understand God more. I will continue to live out this untarnished faith so that all may see that I am a Christian. At age 12, something changed my life. My great-grandma Bertha died. Her death was my very first loss. Amongst many emotions, I felt grief, pain, and confusion, for she suddenly died. I was very close to her since she babysat us kids, loved on us, prayed many hours for us, and was always excited to see us. Her house had a really distinct, sweet aroma that has never escaped my memory. After hearing the news, my parents took us kids home and left to where my grandma had passed. I vividly remember leading my sister and my brother in a prayer for Grandma's health to be restored. God answered our prayers, because that night she was healed and was made perfect in His sight. After all those decades of faithful service to God, she met Jesus face to face. That experience grew my faith and brought me to a closer relationship with my family. At the age of 18, God called me into full-time vocational ministry at church camp. At that time of my life, I had veered off and wanted to do things selfishly. I didn't even want to go to church camp because I had this strong feeling that I was going to experience God more than I ever had before. And sure enough, on a Thursday night, I was broken and asked God to lead me in whatever way He wanted me to. In a clear, distinct voice, I heard youth ministry, my son. Doubting this command, I wrestled with God because not once I had ever considered going into ministry. But sure enough, I kept sensing the same calling. This decision has given me a sense of identification and purpose. And I'm here today because I've listened to God's voice and I've responded to the call of youth ministry in my life. As I embraced this calling, I was transitioning out of my small town to Springfield, Missouri to become more effective through schooling. My rural farming community was a life-shaping experience. One benefiting thing I learned was to value relationships. Since roughly 1,300 people live in Camp Point, Illinois, where I grew up, I consistently saw the same people in the grocery store, church, sporting events, restaurant, and social functions. Seeing the same people developed my relational skills. I learned how to communicate and hear people's needs and passions, not simply just brushing by and say, "Hey, what's up?" That knowledge was carried over into my adulthood. It is hard for me to not greet people with a smile and a conversation ready to start. When I finally reached Springfield, Missouri, I was anxious and excited for the next stage of my life. That life-shaping segment consists of graduating from Evangel University, currently undergoing a second year interning at James River Assembly, and recently beginning graduate school at the Assemblies of God Theological Seminary. These three venues have been one of the greatest emotional, psychological, and spiritual experiences thus far. I've learned about my studying techniques, my strengths and my weaknesses, my personality strengths, potential dark side, attributes that could affect my life negatively, and ways to be a spiritual leader. This chapter has shaped me exponentially because I sense God working in me and through me. He has confirmed my calling numerously and given me encouragement through His people and through His Word. I'm emotionally and spiritually stronger, a little wiser, and more aware of who I am and my purpose as a follower of Jesus Christ. While at Evangel, I met the most interesting, beautiful, amazing woman ever. She stole my heart immediately, and I knew I wanted to marry her. And sure enough, on June 11, 2010, I married the woman of my dreams. Besides following Christ, meeting Brittany was the greatest life-changing experience and the greatest gift anyone has ever blessed me with. She has challenged me spiritually, pushed me to do my best in school when situations were difficult, supported me in pursuing ministry, laughed and joked with me numerously, and been my best friend these last 4 years. I wake up excited to be with her and come home ready to embrace her arms. I have learned much about God's character in knowing Brittany. I see the love that prevails Despite my flaws, I experience welcoming arms. I feel encouragement from my passions and desires, and her ability to pull strengths out of me, even though I may not see them. Although no one is perfect, Brittany has never let me down or disappointed me greatly. Her being in my life has made me a better person, more alive, and more grateful for life. Psalm 73:26 states that my flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. I know firsthand that I have failed God through disobedience and selfish motives, but He has never failed me. God has always prevailed and always pulled through in every single situation in my life, and I will continue to serve Him till the day I die. My name is Jordan Lung, and this is my story.